Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was the site of the Steelers-Chiefs game, the game in which the lead in two divisions of the AFC was in jeopardy. In Pittsburgh this season, everyone loves the Steelers, as Chuck Noll's Young Toughs, with a 6-2 record, are off to their best start in 4 decades. Last week, they took a monumental step toward their first division title ever with their most impressive victory of the season, a 40-17 pasting of the Bengals. Terry Bradshaw, number 12, leads a Steelers offense that in 6 winning games this season has averaged over 35 points a game. 16-year veteran Len Dawson also has an explosive offense, but he'll be tested by a Steeler defense that has given up the 4th fewest points in the NFL, so he's polishing up new delivery skills. Dawson leads an offense capable of the big play or the ball control drive. Hank Stram's Chiefs are also coming off their most impressive victory of the year. Last week, they beat arch-rival Oakland to take first place in their division. A big step for them if they hope to repeat as division titleists. So, there are war drums on the Monongahela, as a loss for either will put that team's first-place status in jeopardy, as the Pittsburgh Steelers, leaders of the AFC Central Division, face the Kansas City Chiefs, leaders in the AFC West, in the NFL Game of the Week. The Chiefs, with their big play potential, would present a big test for the young Steeler defense, averaging under 4 years pro experience, yet one of the league's best. On Kansas City's first possession, they found out how tough the Steelers were. Led by All-Pro Joe Green, number 75, the Pittsburgh line of Green, White, Greenwood, and McGee, backed by Andy Russell, Jack Ham, and Henry Davis, stopped the Chiefs running. And when Dawson turned to the pass, a swarm of black and gold engulfed his receivers after only short gains. So on their first series, Kansas City went nowhere, but the Chiefs too play defense, and Pittsburgh fared even worse. After one running play, Bradshaw tried a pass, but second-year man Mike Sensabaugh, number 20, intercepted. After a 12-yard return, Sensabaugh was helped down by teammate Aaron Brown, number 87, on the Pittsburgh 41. Sensabaugh's steal set up a field goal try, but it was blocked. Then, after Kansas City stopped Pittsburgh again, Dawson got oodles of time, but the Steelers secondary had his receivers smothered. And that's the story in Pittsburgh this season. On the rare occasions that the line does not pressure, the defensive backs play tough. Pittsburgh's defensive backs have long been suspect, but not so this season. John Rouser, Mel Blount, Ralph Anderson, and Mike Wagner are a big reason for Pittsburgh's success thus far, and with help from their linebackers, Pittsburgh leads the NFL in interceptions. Pittsburgh's defense was jamming the Chiefs so well that they would not get outside their own 40 except when set up by the defense, as Sensabaugh's interception had done. Late in the first quarter, the Steelers' offense finally began to move. The Steeler offensive line, Kolb, Davis, Mansfield, Van Dyke, and Mullins, is another Steeler unit come of age. Watch Van Dyke, number 66, clear out Curly Culp, number 61, to give Fuqua room. Good running by Franco Harris and John Fuqua carried to the Chief 38, but Fuqua's hands proved to be not as effective as his feet. On 3rd and 5, Fuqua's drop meant a field goal try by Roy Gerela. Gerela, the NFL's leading scorer, is as much responsible for Pittsburgh's lofty rank as anyone. For when the Steelers get close but can't get the touchdown, he usually puts points on the board. But he didn't this time, as his reaction will show. So each team had possession 3 times, but in the defense-dominated game, the score stood 0-0. The Chiefs would get the ball 3 more times in the half, but would be held on their own 20 once, then twice on their own 2-yard line. On 3rd down, rookie Ernie Holmes, number 63, nailed Dawson for 11 yards. Forced to punt. The Chiefs got a break when Preston Pearson, number 26, trying to block Gerald Wilson's punt, ran into the kicker, bringing an automatic 1st down. But the Chiefs could not move. A run netted just 1 yard, and on 2nd down, watch number 53, middle linebacker Henry Davis. Dawson thought he had Robert West open, but Davis made a great deflection. Before the season, the Steeler defense was pretty well set, except for a question mark in the middle. Davis has turned that question mark into an exclamation point. On 3rd down, Willie Frazier looked open to Dawson, but Ralph Anderson closed him down. The Chiefs' next possession of the quarter yielded negative results. 2nd and 3rd down sacks, this one by Joe Green and Dwight White, left this possession at minus 15 yards. And on the Chiefs' last possession of the half, White nailed Dawson again. This ball possession yielding minus 9 yards. Dawson was caught 4 times for 41 yards as the Chiefs' offense gained just 25 net yards in the 1st half. Wilson was twice forced to punt with less than a 15-yard drop back, but his boomers, this one for 65 yards, kept Pittsburgh from getting great field position. New Steeler George Webster's block on teammate Glenn Edwards didn't help Pittsburgh's field position either. The Steelers would gain nearly 6 times as much yardage as the Chiefs, yet they could get no points in the half. The Chief defense was playing well too, and Bradshaw would get just 65 yards passing in the 1st half. In fact, when Bradshaw came back with the same pattern as this one that failed, it was Kansas City that scored. Safety Jim Kearney stepped in front of a Bradshaw bullet and returned 65 yards. It was fitting that a half so dominated by defense would see the only score come on a defense. Kansas City led 7-0. But Bradshaw kept going for Ron Shanklin, and a 36-yard hookup had Pittsburgh moving late in the 1st half. Then Bradshaw escaped Chief pressure and found Franco Harris, who tacked on 21 yards. Harris reached the 11-yard line but fumbled to kill the Steelers' best scoring threat. In a half almost totally controlled by defense, the Chiefs, with a non-existent offense, led 7-0, thanks to the defensive gem by Jim Kearney. Trailing 7-0, the Steelers came out for the 2nd half determined to establish a running game. And on their first series, Franco Harris, number 32, and the Steelers line did just that. Harris was held to 15 yards in the 1st half, but he would begin an onslaught on the Chiefs' defense with this 45-yard burst to the Chiefs' 20. Most of the Steeler runs were up the middle or to their left. When they tried to go right, Bobby Bell was waiting. It was now 3rd and 12. Bradshaw got 11 of it on a keeper. So on 4th and 1, the Steelers decided to go for it. But confusion caused a delay of game penalty. It was now 4th and 6, so Jarrella came in and hit for 3. The penalty may have cost them a touchdown, but they were on the board, now trailing 7-3. The next time Bradshaw had the ball, the Steelers were not as productive. In fact, they gave it up. Bradshaw had time, but threw right into the zone, manned by Bobby Bell. One of the Steelers' great improvements this year has been avoiding the turnover. Due to a change in thrust toward the running game this year, Bradshaw has not had to throw that much, and had only thrown 6 interceptions until this game. But this turnover wouldn't hurt Pittsburgh. In fact, the Chiefs' offense was again totally ineffectual in the third period. The Steelers linebackers, Andy Russell, Henry Davis, and Jack Ham, were stopping one of Dawson's pet plays. Russell, number 34, and particularly Ham, number 59, were all over the field, quickly reacting to Dawson's short passing game. Nor were the Chiefs able to spring their big gun Otis Taylor, either as a receiver or on the end around that has worked so well for the Chiefs in the past. Pittsburgh's defense, one of the best in the league statistically this year, was proving that they are indeed to be feared. Later in the quarter, Dawson's offense finally crossed the magic midfield stripe on their own for the first time in the game. They did it on a sustained drive, with Dawson getting good protection when he threw and doing it on his own when his receivers were covered. Even their running attack reared its head for the first time. Watch the Chiefs center block number 60, Ben McGee, on a trap Podolak broke for 12 into Pittsburgh territory. But here the Chiefs' offense faltered. Dawson floated a balloon and was fortunate the catch was made out of bounds by Steeler cornerback John Rouser. 2 more plays failed, and Jan Stenerud came in for an easy 35-yarder. But watch Stenerud's reaction. He knows he's missed. Even though the Kansas City bench keeps watching and hoping, it's still 7-3 Chiefs near the end of the third quarter. Then Bradshaw himself decided to carry the Steelers into the fourth quarter. The prototype of the future NFL quarterback, Bradshaw gives the offense a strong and aggressive third runner who can take his shots, get up, and go again. This extra dimension on offense has been a big reason for the Steelers' success. Watch Bradshaw break 3 tackles here before Willie Lanier bear hugged Bradshaw down. Having had enough, Bradshaw then gave to the other big reason the Steelers are where they are, rookie Franco Harris. Harris, as a pure runner, has to already contend with a Simpson, a Brockington, even a Larry Brown. He has some of each of them: quickness, power, and most of all, tremendous balance and strength in his legs, able to break tacklers the likes of Willie Lanier, able to run over smaller cornerbacks like Mike Sensabaugh and other supposed sure tacklers in a secondary. Harris has a long future in the NFL. Harris's great effort was the last on this drive and set up a second Roy Gerela field goal, a chip shot from 10 yards. The Steelers closed the gap to 1, down 7-6. Gerela's Gorillas were another reason for the Steelers showing this season, for they are the Steeler bomb squad. And when Gerela failed to kick the ball out of the end zone, which was rare, the Gorillas prevented any long returns, giving Kansas City's offense poor field position. The field position didn't seem to matter to the Chiefs, for no matter where they were in trouble. Watch number 68, L.C. Greenwood, strip his block, then bust the ball loose from Ed Podolak. The Chiefs will appear to recover the fumble, but watch the ball as it trickles away and a Steeler defender recovers. Ed Podolak, a hero a week ago against Oakland, was having his problems against the Steelers, while Jack Ham, the man who recovered, was not yet finished with his heroics. So the Steelers had their first big break of the second half, and Bradshaw this time tried to pass his way to the goal. But the Chiefs denied Terry and the Steelers any gains on 3 straight downs, and Gerela would again come in, this time from 49 yards out. We isolated Gerela on the attempt, and his reaction will give you the result. You might think the Steelers had just won the division championship, the way they mobbed Gerela after his three-pointer. Maybe they knew something, for Gerela's third three-pointer had given Pittsburgh a 9-7 lead with 5 minutes left. But there was to be more cheering in Three Rivers Stadium, for on the Chiefs' first play after the field goal, the Steelers regained possession. Jim Otis's fumble was recovered by Jack Ham again, and Ham would set it up for his former teammate from Penn State to finish off Kansas City. Franco Harris played in the shadow of All-American Lydell Mitchell at State, but the Steelers scouts deemed Harris a better pro prospect and drafted him before Mitchell. They were well advised. Mitchell has not even played for a losing team, the Colts, while Harris is burning up the league. This run put him over 100 yards for the 4th time in the 5 games he started. 2 plays later, he took a pitch out, stripped number 99 Wilbur Young's attempted high tackle, rolled over safety Jim Kearney's attempted low tackle, and jogged in for a touchdown. The Steelers now led 16-7. With 3 minutes left, the Steelers would have a chance to hammer the final nails into the Chiefs' coffin when Dawson threw into the NFL's leading secondary, and safety Glenn Edwards, a second-year player from Florida A&M, intercepted. Like the Dolphins, the Steelers' defense is stacked with youth, sprinkled with a few veterans, and characterized by aggressiveness. From here, Harris tried to run out the final 2 minutes, but failed. Because of his unwillingness to fold, Harris may have a tendency to fumble, and the Chiefs got a break when they recovered Harris's fumble. The lateral after the fumble was no good, but of even more concern was the fact that Bradshaw limped off the field. He would be all right, but Chuck Noll was now intently watching the Chiefs' offense with 1.5 minutes to play. They still had an outside chance with a touchdown and field goal. The Steelers were in a prevent and gave up a couple of medium-range passes, but Dawson had used too many short plays to nick his way downfield, using up his timeouts and the clock. By the time he was inside the 10, only seconds remained, and even then he came up empty as the Steelers secondary kept the lid on Otis Taylor when it counted, and Dawson just had no one to go to. It was more than fitting that the game ended with Dawson on his back, the victim of another Who's He defender, rookie Craig Hanneman, number 67. For this victory had to be the high water mark for the Steeler defense. Chuck Noll's 11 angry souls had shut out the Chiefs' offense without even a field goal for the first time in eons. Now 7-2, Chuck Noll's team is made up of high draft choices and veterans. He has changed his offense to a short game attack around Franco Harris and Bradshaw, and forged a defense that can no longer be considered a fluke. The Steelers no longer smell just the smoke of the steel mills. There's a sweeter aroma in Pittsburgh now, the smell of victory and a championship.